we're all human in that regard. I have days where I scream into my pillow. I'm just like, oh, you feel so trapped and so infuriated. So I have those same frustrations. I guess it's just the way that I sort of deal with them, and sort of and push through them might be what is what's sort of helping me better. 100%. And it's something I sort of say to people that when I have conversations with, I'm like, focus on what you can control, not what you can't.
Mhm.
Focus on what you can control, not what you can't. I'm such a big advocate for that, because people get so caught up in getting things, holding them down and upsetting them when it's completely out of their control. There's not a whole lot they can do about that, but they can control how things affect them. So if like, for example, if if someone has a go at you and you let that upset you, okay, they've done the wrong thing, but you're choosing to let that upset you. You're making that choice to let that upset you, and being able to ignore that, be able to move past that and feel sorry for the person or whatever, is such a strength. Now, I'm not saying it's something that we're all gifted with. It's something you've got to work on. But how you let situations affect you is on you.
Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Couple of Lattes. Jacques here, your host, and I am so pumped for today's conversation with Gaz Kempster. Gaz has an incredible energy about him. He's constantly high energy. He's constantly positive. And although he obviously experiences hard times and negative times, you will kind of understand a little bit more about how he's able to flip the script and turn those negative moments into positive moments based on his life and how he sees the world around him. I got a ton out of this podcast. I really loved this conversation. It really perked me up and boosted my energy levels and gave me more drive and clarity around why I'm doing this podcast. I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as I did. But anyway, now let's begin this conversation with Gaz Kempster. Life is short, a long podcast with Gaz. It's ready to go. What is that? What does that mean?
This is my power pose.
That's fantastic. So for anyone listening right now who isn't watching the video, because this will be on YouTube now as well, by the way, Gaz. Hello YouTube. For anyone who's not watching, Gaz just got in his car and drove out from his own house, the black spot of internet where internet doesn't exist, and he's now sitting in his car doing a podcast in his car.
You know what? It's I'm good at some things, but navigating the madness that is Wi-Fi is something I still struggle with. But I'm definitely usually all over this, but it's just for whatever reason, just in my little house in Elwood. I won't give you the exact address, but my little place in Elwood, it just I seem to struggle with the old Wi-Fi connection. But first world problems.
Just quickly, before you continue with this very exciting sounding conversation, whose voice is that I'm listening to?
Hey guys, Gaz Kempster here. I am a musician, business owner, and all-round sort of personality for all things positive. Hope you're well, and I look forward to talking to you soon.
Yeah, we're here now. It's obviously a political conspiracy against Gaz. They don't want him to speak out because he is such an influential human being. That's clearly what it is.
I tell you what, the 5G vampire bats are out
there. What, there's vampire bats now? Fuck, this is a development.
It's like some of the things I don't know about you, but sometimes I like, because it's not something we often do, because we're usually quite busy with stuff. But when you got a little bit more time, as we are in the middle of a pandemic, you have a bit more time, and I just indulge in sometimes reading like the comment sections of like when governments are putting posts up, and I tell you what, sometimes I have to close my laptop and just like take a big breath in. I'm just like, what the hell am I reading right now? So there's some hectic theories going on there. So it's good to have a little bit of a laugh, but then you just got to step away and just go, wow.
Yeah, 100%, bro. I totally agree with that. I mean, it's funny now looking back on it, but sometimes you're just like, holy shit, man, these people really believe this.
Yeah, well, hey, and I'm not saying that everything's not true by any stretch, but yeah, like some of the stuff you read, you're just like, what? Like it just doesn't make any sense. But alas, people are entitled to their opinion, and I think one of the big things I've sort of found, going through this sort of period, and doing what I can, sort of helping people, in my close circles and outer, is that you got to understand and respect that people are dealing with this differently. There's no right or wrong way. Well, there is a wrong way, but there's no definitive. This is the way to deal with it, because everyone's
Mm,
different. We've all got different emotions.
mm,
We all deal with things differently, both internally and how we project it, out into the ether. So you got to let people vent. You've got to let people sort of deal with things in their own way, and offer support and guidance and help where you can. Not that I pretend to be any sort of guru or anything, but some people deal with it better,
mm,
better than others, and so if you can help those that aren't dealing with it, then I don't know.
mm.
Hopefully, we can make the world go round.
Yeah, love that, bro. And that's I think the way you just spoke then, for anyone who doesn't know, who kind of gives an idea of who Gaz Kempster is. Like you and I are like we kind of know each other. I think we're still like
Yep.
very much getting to know each other. But from what I know about you, and obviously through Paolo, you're close with Paolo as well, as like you're just this
Yes.
ridiculously high energy level individual who's not afraid to do some crazy stuff. To I guess
Yeah.
bring joy to people, but also to bring joy to yourself. So I wanted to start by asking you a question uh,
Sure. Sure.
about those crazy things. I want to
Yep.
hear your top three craziest things that you've done in your life. And I know this is going to be difficult, but let's give it a
Yeah.
crack.
Okay. Well, we'll see. Some of my crazy, I do crazy things for a laugh, and I do crazy things for to achieve things as well. So maybe I'll do a bit of both,
Yeah, good,
so
good.
I don't seem like an absolute loose in it. So so I before last year, obviously haven't gone this year, but I based myself over in Ibiza in Spain, playing music over there, which is a lot of fun, and sort of traveling in between Melbourne. And, you play everywhere, but I was based in Ibiza and had an amazing time. And I do a lot of work with the homeless communities. I do it here, and I didn't. I felt, well, if I'm over there, there's no reason why I can't still continue with the work I'm doing. So I decided to run a marathon over there, and I ran from the top of Ibiza to the bottom,
What?
on 3 weeks training, as best as you can train living in Ibiza. And yeah, so it was a bit short of a marathon. It was in the high 30 kilometers. So it was about 40 k's, so about 2k short. And we literally ran from the top of Ibiza to actually to space, which was still open back then. So, and we raised, it wasn't a huge amount. We raised about 6 or 7 thousand euros for Caritas, which is kind of like the Salvation Army equivalent over in Spain. And so that was pretty amazing. And then
Mm,
we did a big with some of the money we had in donations. We actually bought a heap of food, and we went to again, like a sort of like a Salvation Army type equivalent area there, and had a big dinner with a lot of the homeless community there. Awesome. My Spanish is very ordinary. I can literally I can order my fruit and veggies and as many beers as I like. But it was an amazing experience, and so that was a very random sort of thing I did over there,
that's amazing.
which is cool. Trying to think something I've done. Oh, recent I did a big nudie run the other week. So to celebrate us getting into double digits, because we haven't had a lot to. I'm obviously based in Melbourne at the moment, and we haven't had a lot to celebrate here. If anything, so I sort of made a conscious decision, maybe like not very early on, so probably like sort of late March, early April. I was like, okay, I've really just got to do what I can to sort of get people up, because every day there was this doom and gloom in the news, and you could feel the energy, in the community and across socials. You could just feel it going down. So I was like, man, I'm just going to every little thing I can sort of celebrate, or anything I can create. So I created an event with good mate Dan Irwin, called the Stay at Home event. We had about 20,000 people attending that online. We did everything from I did line dancing lessons, which
I
I can't.
saw that. That was amazing.
I can't. I can't fucking. Sorry, I'm just wishing you swear.
You can
I
swear.
can't line dance. Yeah, I can't line dance. And so I did a 5 minute, 5-10 minute line dancing seminar. And yeah, for the stay at home event, and it was awesome. We had everyone musical performances. Had one of the girls doing aerobics old style, like the old school retro gear. doing a performance, taking people for like morning aerobics, which was awesome. Bit of a throwback. We did martial arts seminars. We had live acoustic performers, DJ sets. Your brother did an amazing Terry the T Rex, party for the kids, just with some real fun commercial dance music. That was huge. Like I got so many messages from people just saying, "Hey, my kids are dancing around the living room and having fun with the dinosaurs." So that was pretty cool. And then to cut that off, when we hit double digits, which I said I would do. I did a big nudie run and swim down Sandringham Beach, much to the absolute horror of some of the locals that saw my pale moon chassis frolicking along the sand. Big heavyweight rig marching along the sand. So did that recently. So that was pretty fun. What else have I done? There's usually basically I try and do something once a month just to kind of keep things fun, keep things fresh. So when we hit, so coming up, when we hit single digits, so we're pretty close now. Like I think we had 14, I think 15 today, and it's delved between sort of 11 and 12, and in the last few days. So once we hit single digits, I'm doing the big a big run from like Elwood Life Saving Club up to Auburn Point, which is that big white white facade they've got there in the Borat mankini. So I'm going to do that. So that'll probably be next week. I'm just trying to decide, and I'm happy for your feedback. I think I really want to take the piss out of myself and do like the the bodybuilders do the full like they go like the orange brown. But what I want to do is I want to leave my head. I want to leave my head pale white. You can sort of see it at the moment. There's not much color at the moment. But I'll just go from neck down, just go full bodybuilder spray paint, and the Borat mankini, just to really get the heads turning. So I plan on doing that. That'd probably be, what do you reckon, next week, I guess?
Yeah, I reckon if we're going the way we're going, it might be even sooner, bro. Let's see.
Yeah. So I jokingly put that out there on socials, and obviously I had plenty of comments and suggestions. And then one of my mates, who I do martial arts with, Raf, he posted up a package, and he's got a Borat mankini, not like in a package, not even open. And he's like, "Mate, it's ready to go." So I think we've got our next little dare, sort of thing in place. So yeah.
Awesome.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah. I think we had about 3 or 4 there, but that was great, guys. And I think it gives anyone listening to this a bit of an idea of the kind of person you are. You're someone who just goes for it. I'm really interested to know, like, you obviously have such high energy levels, and you don't seem to have.
Yes.
I guess a lot of people have this this kind of barrier of fear in front of them, right? And I'm not saying that you don't have fear involved in your life, but it seems that you've been able to flip the script almost and use it as a force to push you forward and to just go for the things that you want to do, as opposed to letting it be a barrier. What I'm really interested to know, though, is how did your upbringing allow you to become the person that you are now? Like, what do you think were some of the key elements in your upbringing that's enabled you now to be such a high energy person, someone who's just keen to go for it, but also to treat people with kindness and care and love?
Yeah, it's it's a funny one, and my answer is going to surprise you here. My upbringing didn't, and that's the thing. So I had a pretty restrictive upbringing, sort of thing. So I didn't have the conventional sort of parents. I was sort of raised as a ward of the state sort of thing. So so the siblings and I were separated for quite a bit, and then we had an amazing lady looked after us, so who I call my mum now, and she had us for a while, but we, like, for probably a good 8 years, I had some other people that looked after us, and they weren't great. They weren't very nice people at all. And they were very, like, they were very, very rule stricken, very old school sort of mentality. So in that respect, I guess it helped me. I'm very respectful. I'm very polite. I'm very well spoken. I guess so. That there was definitely some positives there. But in all honesty, I've always just had, and anyone that can tell you this has known me for a long period of time, I've always had a just like unbelievable energy. And I'll tell you a fun little story, which will sort of just sum this up to, when people say, "Are you nature or are you nurture?" I've definitely nurtured the energy into, a career and everything like that. But this is a funny, you'll love this story. So when I was younger, I used to have this random thing. I passed out a lot. Would just flat drop unconscious. And so,
What?
yeah, God, you're gonna love this. And so, I got taken by said parents to the doctors, and I had EEGs, CAT scans on my brain, everything, because they thought I was growing too fast on my body, and it was, it was causing issues with my brain. And so I had everything. They were testing me for epilepsy, everything, and I'm talking this went on for weeks and weeks, and they just couldn't work out what was going on with me. um and then, so I finally got all the tests done, went in to see the specialist, and the specialist asked me a series of questions for a while, and then I had parents in the room, and he put the papers down, put his hands in his head, and he goes, "I know what's wrong with him. He's not breathing. He's talking so much. He's not getting oxygen into his brain, and so he's passing out." And so, because I was just talking so much, I wasn't getting enough oxygen to the brain, so I was getting lightheaded and passing out. So I had all these tests done and everything, and wasted weeks of doctors' times, not intentionally, thinking that I had issues with my brain, but it was just because I didn't shut the fuck up. I was just talking so much that I wasn't breathing properly, and I was passing out. So I've always been like this. I've loved all my sports, and I do a lot of like music and MC, sort of
Mm,
hosting events and that sort of stuff. So that's been a real outlet for me, I guess, to get that sort of creativity. And I sort of found early on that people didn't enjoy public speaking, which is a totally natural, normal thing. A lot of people don't like getting up in front of a crowd, and so I always loved performing and all that sort of stuff. And so I really made that a bit of a mantra for me to say, hey, I know other people don't like doing this, so if I can make this my thing, hey, maybe I can make a life out of this. I mean, you're not thinking make a life out of it when you're younger, but you're thinking, hey, like I might be able to, have some fulfillment, and this is something I really enjoy. I love the pressure. The bigger the audience that I have, the more I thrive. And it was a big challenge for me, because I do speak quite quickly, as I'm sure you know. And so
mm.
I had to really, I did heaps of training about public speaking, learning to breathe, like when you do breathe. So
That's
when people,
amazing.
and it's a good thing for people that are watching this. When you're doing public speaking, one of the most important things I teach people is you read each sentence and actually physically take a breath. So, hello, my name's Kempster. It's nice to meet you. Start again, and you sort of keep going through. Take a pause, take the breath in and going, because people, when they rush, they get quite tense in the stomach,
Mm,
and that sort of causes them to rush their breathing and their speaking. And so I really sort of made an effort and learned how to sort of publicly speak well, and that was a really good outlet for me. So yeah,
mm,
that's sort
mm.
of, hopefully that answers the question.
That's amazing, bro. I've kind of jotted down some things I wanted to ask you as follow-ups to that. So
Hit me.
maybe like you mentioned ward upbringing, so I'm assuming
Yeah.
that's like what does that mean for anyone listening to that now?
Yeah, sure. So water of the state basically means, like, do you remember that when you were you were South African growing up in New Zealand, weren't you? So,
Hmm.
it's like very similar. We have sort of similar sort of governance, between the three countries. But when the parents would tick the guardian rather than a parent. It was sort of that. So you didn't actually have the parents, you had the guardians, and so
Mm,
basically the state is your legal guardian, if that makes sense. And so you were given carers to look after you. So no immediate, mother and father, to sort of to run the put up with this. and so so yeah, so often they'd rotate the carers that be looking after you. I
mm,
was sort of more old, sort of. This is quite a few years ago, and so it's changed a lot these days. And now they do rotate it often into like 10 hour shifts.
mm.
But back when I was doing it, that they often these carers would live in the residence with you, so it was a bit more normal. But if you didn't get good ones, then it could often be detrimental. Um, in that respect. And they were just very old school, like they very just very 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 sort of Christian, which is fine, but just I don't know. It's you can sort of tell the sort of person I am. There was obviously often very very much of a clash of personalities. And imagine when you're this big bright spirit and you're constantly being told you can't do this, you can't do that. It can be it can be frustrating. But I was, as always, I was very very persistent, and I won out eventually. I
Mm.
think I
Yeah,
think I moved out. I think I moved out when I was like 16 or something. So I
that's
was I, I
amazing.
was up and going. I was up and going from a very very early age, sort of thing. I was doing my paper rounds like 7 days a week, nice and early, and was I loved working, and was really instilled with a strong work ethic. And yeah, that's definitely one of my strongest characteristics, I guess, is my ability to push through. And I'll average my 80-hour weeks, and I really enjoy that. For me, I don't sleep much, and it's I'm not saying it's right or wrong, sort of thing, because every scientist will tell you that you need your allocated 8 hours sleep. But just for me, I get by on a couple of hours. My body functions really well. I'm awake. I'm sort of ready to go. So I kind of just I go with it. It's worked well for me. I'm super fit. I'm healthy. So I'll probably drop dead in the next few years, and everything I've just said will be proven be a moot point. But yeah, so far so good.
Yeah, but you're living your best life, I guess, to make it super cliche, and you look like a happy motherfucker. But I want to go a little bit deeper if I can, Gaz.
Go deep.
Okay, we're going deep. So obviously, you kind of you were brought up with these guardians, and you were basically
Yep.
a child of the state. Did you ever have the opportunity to meet your birth parents or your siblings? Or
We no. So father passed away when we were very young. And then mother taken out of the care of our mother. So
gotcha.
so yes, so you can sort of read between the lines there. So yeah, there was I know there was a bit of back and forth there for a bit, but it was just I think it was just it was safer for us as a family, to safer and probably more beneficial to be raised in the temporary. They were called temporary group homes.
Mm.
I wouldn't recommend it for your kids. It doesn't matter how bad your kids are, don't send them off to the family group homes, because they
Yeah.
ain't great. I'll give you the hot tip. My friends in school used to joke that I should go to jail for a holiday. so,
Jeez.
so it was pretty hectic. But alas, I got through, and to be honest, it probably made me more resilient. And what I am sort of today. So yeah.
Yeah, I was just about to kind of go that route, actually, Gaz. Like, it's amazing.
Yep.
Like, we're laughing about this now, right? And it's a bit of a joke and a laugh, but I'm
Sure.
sure like there was a lot of suffering for you and going through that. And like you say, it's
Mm.
built you into this really resilient person. You've been able to keep that energy high, even though you're facing all of this adversity when you're young. And that's only made you a
Yep.
much stronger person now. So when you are
Yes.
confronted with things, you're like, okay, cool. Well, what can I
Yes.
do about this? As opposed to someone who's brought up in like this little kind of bubble wrap, and then something happens
100%.
to them and they're like, oh fuck, well, I'm fucked. They don't go, oh well,
Yeah.
what can I do about this? Like, how can I overcome this?
Yeah.
Do you think
Yeah.
that upbringing kind of contributed to you being more inclined to find
100%.
solutions?
100%, yeah, and it's not something I actively think about, but as we talk about it now, I can tell you wholeheartedly 100%. It was
Mm,
when you come from a fairly rough upbringing, and it's pretty tough. And I remember there was days when I grew up, and you go visit, you go to your friend's place, sort of thing, because I played a lot of sport when I was a kid, and visit your friend's place, and you sort of see how their family interacted, and I was like, what the hell is this? Like this place seems like a dream. And that was because that was because you don't know any different, sort of thing. And so for me it was yeah, it was interesting. And it 100% it's really sharpened my resolve to go, hey, I got through that quite well, sort of thing. I did fairly well in school, and all things considered. And yeah, did it tough young. And so when things come up now, and I've had plenty, as we all have had plenty of situations, scenarios, current climate, as all part of that, to go, okay, I've been through tough. I can dig my heels in here, and I can get through this, because I can get
mm,
through anything. So
mm,
yeah,
mm.
in short, I'd say the answer is yes.
And that's not to say like someone out there who, like, obviously I wouldn't wish like a tough upbringing on anyone. Like, there's
No.
people like you that come out of it, but then there's also a huge amount of other people that like go into very, very scary and sad downward spirals that lead to a lot of suffering, right? So like that's not a good result on the macro
No.
level, right?
No.
You were just resilient enough to get through it. But I guess the important message there is like in any upbringing, it's important to teach your kids to be resilient and to think for themselves, right? To come up with solutions by themselves. Because if you're doing everything for a kid and then they get into adulthood and they realize they have to do everything for themselves, that's a problem, right?
100%, yeah, and you made a really good point there, and it's one thing that I use my experience to shape me, but I know that my siblings and I we were really seen as being the success stories, I guess, and it sounds like a bit of a wank, but we were really seen as success, and I remember they used to, like, in the family group home I was raised in, they really paraded us around as these, like, because we were all sort of doing well at school, and I won a few awards when I was a kid. Like, there was like a centenary medal that in 2000, and I won some. I don't even know what it was for, to be honest. And I won but it was like with the prime minister and everything, um, and it was something. It was like leadership in the community or something like that. And the all those sort of things, 100% were tough. But then I actually did a few years working in residential care because, as I said, my mum, who I call now, she got me some work, sort of working with a family similar to mine, and I probably worked in resi care for maybe 4 years, and I saw some of the things that these kids went through, and it paled, it left mine for dead. And yeah, most of these kids really struggle. They really, really do struggle, and they come from alcohol abusive parents, poor socioeconomical backgrounds, etc. And just a slight bit of normality for them, you could see as being a win. So it is very rare to sort of see people come through it. When it does happen, amazing. And then from my perspective, I'm like, okay, cool, how can I help other people sort of to get through their own sort of challenges, and find a brighter day? Because it is really tough for a lot of these kids. But from my perspective, that doesn't mean you got an excuse, and I've always been a big one on that. Hey, someone's always got it tougher. There's always someone that's done it way tougher than we've done it. So use your experience to sharpen your resolve, help others, and then hopefully we can collectively all get through this madness together.
I think that's a good point you put across, bro. And I guess I'd sum that up to like this idea of victimizing yourself in situations, and that's not to take away from
Yes.
the fact that there is certain situations where people truly are victims to something completely outside of their control. But I guess, like you say,
Mm-hmm.
if you're stuck in that mentality, it's really hard to get out, right? Like there needs to almost be a switch over to, all right, how can I use this terrible situation to my advantage?
100%, and it's like I'm one of the original ambassadors for Polished Man, which is a big campaign through the YGAP guys, who are very, very dear and close friends of mine, and that rolls out in October. And we've done it for 6 years, and that's basically painting. So it starts in 2 weeks, and so you paint your nails, paint a nail, and it sort of gets a conversation around abuse towards children, and these polished men, that these sort of better men, sort of breaking the stigma and a lot of the things that's attached with masculinity, etc. And I've been involved with Polished Man, and I can't go into too much detail, but yesterday I had an amazing conference call, and we're looking at getting it over in Pakistan. And this is a country that's never done it before. And so at the end of this phone call, I remember thinking, my God, like I could have helped bring Polished Man to Pakistan, which which can equate to saving thousands of kids' lives. Like you can't put a sort of cap on how amazing that is. And this is the sort of stuff that I strive to sort of do, and to sort of making a difference towards. And I find it also helps me to take perspective as well, to go, hey, let's look at the bigger picture here. Hey, the weather's crap this week or whatever. In the grand scheme of things, that ain't that bad, So I've been a person that I guess I always look for the silver lining, and I'm always trying to do better and help others, because I find that helps me.
Yeah, I read a book a while ago, and it's a really simple, easy to read book. It's titled "Don't Sweat the Small Stuff," and then in fine print below it says,
read it and love it.
How good is it?
Love it,
It's like it's all small
it.
stuff, right? When you really think about it, it's crazy.
Yeah. It really is, and the reason why the books like that are amazing, and it's such a relevant book for people, and anyone that's listening now, I encourage you to read it, because it's so relevant for right now. It really will help you give perspective. But one of the big things that helps you sort of do is I can only speak for me. It helped me prioritize what the important things are. You read some stuff like that, and you'll go, why did I even care about that? Like, why is that even a thing? Like, like it's in the title. Don't sweat the small stuff. Focus on always keep your eye on the prize, and focusing on the bigger things, because the small stuff ain't doing you nothing.
Yeah, true. And it's like sometimes people have it backwards as well, right? It's like you ask someone like, "What's one of your goals in the next 5 years?" And they'll go, "Oh, I want to make $1 million." And it's like, okay, why do you want to make $1 million? They're like,
Mm,
well, because it'll make me happier. Okay, cool. So
mm.
really, the goal is to be happy. So why don't you
Yeah,
figure out what makes you happy
yeah,
now? Still work towards your
yeah,
$1 million, but you don't need to be unhappy
100%.
until the point you get $1 million. You can be happy every day, and then when you get $1 million, cool, you're still happy.
It for sure, and I think you've sort of touched on it there. It's breaking down the process, and so the important thing there is, okay, you want $1 million. Why do you want to do this? You want to be I want to be happy, because I want to have financial freedom, or I want to be able to buy. So, okay, cool. So what it is you want to have that be able to take that stress away, because you want to be able to pay some bills and buy. Okay, cool. So it's the happiness, and there's all these sort of stages of that, which can be achieved even before the $1 million. You know what I
Mm,
mean? So it's
mm,
like, okay, if I focus on doing some, maybe some might be better budgeting. I'm terrible with my budget, but if it's better budgeting that can help me, because I can put money away, X Y Z, that can help with this. So you don't necessarily need $1 million right away for that. Definitely still have that as an end goal, but there's still things when we really break down why we want to do things. I did a lot of business training sort of growing up, and a lot of NLP stuff, and that was really interesting, and that really helped me to with Jarrett Leafus, who's amazing business coach,
mm,
and he was amazing in that respect, because he really helped me understand what it is I wanted. I generally, until I did some training on it, I don't think I knew what I wanted or why I wanted it.
mm,
And then once I had a better understanding of that, it helped me to sort of set out goals and achieve things a lot faster. Because
mm,
when you really work out what you want to do, and you literally say it out loud or write it down, it's amazing how your brain just shifts the focus and just starts making moves. And then the really important part I found was being able to, when you hit that goal, because this is something that we do as humans, we're never happy. We're always like, oh, you get to that, and then you probably got a few steps ahead of that, but you don't often take perspective to be able to look back. And the way he described it, which is a really great analogy, is say you're in a forest, and you can sort of see the top of the hill where you want to get to, and so as you're going along your path, actually climbing up your tree and sort of seeing how far you've come along your pathway, is a really special thing to do. So he always encouraged me to, all right, just take a second to climb that tree, have a look back, and go, hey, look at all this amazing work I've done. Look at how much better I am as a person.
mm,
Whatever it might be, in terms of your goals, and go, okay, cool. Hey, I'm doing really good things. I am achieving here. Take a breath, give yourself a high five, and then keep churning along.
Yeah, and taking a breath for you guys is more important than most as well, though,
Woo!
hey?
Breathe
Yeah.
so you don't pass out, baby. Breathe so you don't pass out.
That's amazing. Yeah, but I 100% agree with that, and I think it's powerful when you do that, because it gives you that sense of gratitude about how much you have and how abundant you are. When you're constantly chasing
Yep.
the new high, the new high, the new high, and I term this the hedonic treadmill, right? Hedonic happiness. You're constantly on the treadmill trying to find the new high,
Love it.
and you never take a moment to be grateful for all the highs you already have. And it's powerful what you said. Like,
Yeah.
climb the tree, look, you're like, holy shit, wow, like I have food in my belly, I have a
Yeah.
house, I have a small business, I have all these friends, I have an amazing family.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah.
powerful when you do that.
It is, and it's so relative in terms of, it's such a cliche, but I think it's a good, with everything we're sort of talking about here, is, when they often, like, I always have this conversation when we talk about happiness, right? And so you talk about, you'll see kids here. We've all obviously got, a lot of people have got their own kids, friends have got kids, and you'll see these kids, and they're playing obviously a lot of their iPads and their games and stuff, and they might have a short attention span, and we talk about sort of happiness, and then you'll talk about these kids, and then they'll say, oh, these poor kids in, the cliche is to say Africa, but it can be various parts of Asia, the subcontinent, or whatever, and these kids are playing in the mud, all these poor kids, and you look at these kids' faces, and there's just these big bright smiles, and you're like, what do you mean? These kids are happier probably than we are, to an
Mm,
extent. I don't feel sorry for them. I probably envy them to an extent.
mm,
And so it's having that perspective to go, these kids, they might have a simpler life, but they're really happy within their means. And so just because we have lots of technology and we are very first world in a lot of these respects, it doesn't mean we're happier. It just means that we're more advanced in some forms with science and technology. So I think people sometimes get that confused because they think material things are the key to happiness, and it's not really. You really got to find out what really sort of drives you, and what's going to fulfill you. It's a big one on me is getting that sense of fulfillment, because it ain't often boats and helicopters.
Yeah, true. And if you don't spend time figuring out what truly makes you happy and fulfills you, like it's going to be a pretty sad life. So like make that the
Yeah,
forefront, make that important.
yeah,
Like I would think being happy in the one life
yeah.
you have is important, right?
Yeah, and I think as well it's ongoing. There's our interests and passions and loves change. So
Hmm.
be forever rediscovering things that you're passionate about. For that fulfillment long term. Like we're all struggling at the moment. So now more than ever is the best time to really sort of look within yourself and write some stuff down and do a bit of soul searching to go, okay, what is it that I'm passionate about? Because I can't speak for you and people at home, but I've really used this time as a reset to go, okay, cool. Like there were some things that I really wanted to focus on
Hmm.
with myself. Obviously, I've got various businesses that are at a standstill at the moment. And so you can sort of take a bit of time for a bit of self maintenance, to sort
Mm.
of to go, okay, what's some things I can really improve on, and I think everyone should be focusing on what's the best version that they can be coming out of this pandemic, this lockdown with. So
Mm.
everyone having a version 2.0 that they want to be showcasing to the world, for lack of a better term, I think is an amazing goal. It's just
Mm.
like I'd love to see friends and stuff just strutting out of their houses when this lockdown ends, because they've got a better appreciation of their lives and their friends and their family and their situations, and really having some great goals that they can achieve. In hey, we're still in 2020. There's still a few months left of this schmozzle at the moment. So let's make let's make the most of these last few months, because I can't see something like this happening anytime soon.
Yeah, I totally agree, Gaz. And like you say, it's a consistent thing. So I'm hoping that as people are rediscovering themselves and learning to kind of reflect on their lives and assess what they truly want to do and what truly makes them happy and what they truly define as personal success, that they continue to do it when things get fast paced again. Like it's easy to forget about all of this soul searching and this deep question asking that you've been doing over a quieter period. But it's really important
Mm,
to remember, like each and every day, just take 5 minutes, 10 minutes to just like reassess, do some journaling, ask yourself, like, okay, why am I doing all this? Like, is this making me happy still? Or am I just doing this because
100%.
everyone else is telling me on social media or wherever to do this? So keep that up, right? Consistency is key. I wanted to ask a quick,
100%.
I want to ask a quick question, Gaz, about so obviously you experienced a bit of death early on in your life, and you mentioned that your father passed away. Sorry to hear that, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And
So it wasn't
I
your
mean,
fault.
yeah, it wasn't my fault. True that.
Yeah.
You're right. It's not my apology to make, but I can
Yeah,
understand that
exactly.
I can understand that it would have been hard. Like my brother and I didn't really have a father figure in our life for a long period of time as
Sure.
well, and like it is tough when you don't have that definitive father figure. But more so on the topic of
Yeah.
death, do you feel like your experience with death at a younger age has kind of enabled you to understand that life is short, and because life is short, it's kind of worth going 100% each and every day?
Yeah, I think so. It's like I'll answer as honestly as I can, but I don't pretend to know if this is right. So if
Mm,
that makes sense. So
mhm,
for me, it was like having it early on. Like, I'm trying to remember how old I would have been. Like I would have been 7, I think. So I was
mm,
at 7 years old. So, um, and so for me, it was a real taste of life very, very quickly. It wasn't like it isn't like it is in the TV shows and the movies. Like like real life wasn't good to a lot of us early on, and so yeah, it's sort of I think you know what? I really think it helped me grow up a lot quicker.
mm,
If I'm being honest and thinking about it as we talk, it really helped me sort of grow up and go, all right, I need to like no one's going to hand me anything
mhm,
from an early age, and so everything that I want, I need to be able to go out and get, because it's clear that I haven't been dealt a good hand here, and so you can sort of wallow in it, and you obviously grieve, and I grieve every Father's Day, like everyone that's lost a mother or a father does, and go, okay, I need to sort of shape my own destiny. And I think it definitely gave me a stronger resolve early, because it's pretty tough as a kid. If you go visit a friend's family and there's mum and dad there, and you don't necessarily have that to that extent. But I definitely had some good male role models in my life, which were good, and I got a lot of that through them. And then I think, like, I'm a big one on sport as well. Sort of getting out through friends, parents. I played a lot of cricket as a kid. Did a lot of martial arts, still do, and a bit of Aussie rules football. So, that was sort of important to me, and that sort of helped me. I don't want to say fill the void, because it's hard to know, but it definitely did help me. And I'm pretty sort of, for whatever people say normal, I don't even know what normal is. I'm as unnormal. I'm as unnormal as you can imagine, but I'd like to think I'm a pretty decent guy. And so I sort of made some decisions very early on about the person I wanted to be. And I saw, sort of growing up with some people that look after me, how I didn't want to be as well, and how they it's like, I don't want to use the word governed, but how they did things in the home wasn't how I felt kids should be sort of treated. And so I made a decision very early on. Okay, I want to this is the person I need to be, and this is how I need to do it. And to never like, I'm a massive one on treating everyone with a level of respect. The old saying, like, treat the waiter as kind as you date, sort of thing. I'm a huge one on that. There's no one's better than you, and treat everyone with the respect that you want to be treated with, because be kind to everyone on the way up, because you'll stumble upon them on the way down.
That is a beautiful, beautiful saying. And I really like what you just said there, Gaz. I think there was some really good nuggets of information in there for anyone listening. And I want to kind of acknowledge you for your own self-awareness too, bro, because like we were talking about before, like, you have gone through a lot of, I guess, classically viewed as tough times as a child, but that's made you really resilient and really tough. But then equally, like, there's other people who would have taken a totally different path. So you had a lot of self-awareness to be able to look at situations that young and be like, that's not who I want to be. I want to be someone better. So big ups to you for that, bro. And you are, like, an upstanding dude, man. Like, I look up to you for sure. So shout out.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Woo!
Shout out to Gaz Kempster if you're listening.
I'm sure I'll play back the tape to see how it sounds.
Yeah. You'll be like, oh yeah, shout out to me, bro.
I was waffling on the end story of my life.
Yeah. At least you're breathing though. You haven't passed out yet, which I'm pumped on.
Hey, see, if you're not adapting and learning, you're dying.
Yeah. Actually, I've never had someone pass out in the show yet, so this could be a first. Please don't though.
I'll tell you what, I've learned some skills over the journey. So I haven't passed out from over talking for quite a few years. So even when I do a lot of commentating with events and whatnot, and I'll always joke, if you're talking to the client or the people you're working with, and they're like, surely your voice is going to go soon. I'm like, I'll tell you what, it's held on pretty well. I find if I'm commentating, I do a lot of extreme sport commentary. Like, I do like the commentary with Dan Anstey for the Steel Timber Sports, which is like the wood chopping. Paolo's done a bit of DJing for it. Paolo's actually done the last few events with us down in Melbourne for the DJing for it. And with that, I sometimes lose the voice, because you have to really get those high octaves when you're screaming pure passion with the wood chips flying everywhere. But I found my voice is held up the test of time.
Yeah, mate, you're doing well. Anyway, I wanted to kind of find out, like, if anyone's been listening to this up until this point, you understand, like, Gaz has a lot of energy. You can hear it in your voice, and if you get to see you playing music or anywhere I've seen you, it's just a buttload of energy. And like you say, you don't sleep that much, but you still manage to maintain such positivity in your life and such high energy levels. So I guess what are some of your secrets, bro? Like, how do you kind of maintain this? Do you have, like, specific routines that you follow, or are you just naturally buzzing all the time about life?
Yeah. So it's a good question. The, I definitely have an element of natural sort of energy, like in terms of I'm wired a little bit differently, which is great. And and as I've gotten a little bit older, I've sort of found that you definitely slow down with ability to jump out of bed. So what I sort of did was I made a focus on, okay, cool, how can I harness that sort of natural sort of ability to sort of push through, work crazy long out, like I'll work 100 odd hours a week and then go play music and then go to bed for a few hours and go do it all again. And I get tired like everyone else for sure. But I've definitely found that working on my mental health and physical health is key. If you're out sort of smashing beers, that sort of stuff, several nights a week, it's going to kill you. So I love having a big night with friends as much as the next person, sort of thing. But I'll definitely pick and choose my battles rather than doing it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday when I'm out playing gigs. I'll probably have drinks on the Saturday, sort of thing. But I really make a focus on just on my health. So training minimum 3 times a week, just to really get those natural endorphins going. Because I just find that with your physical health, your physical and your mental health, that they're so interlinked. And I really don't think that you can focus on one without really making an effort to focus on the other. So I eat really well, so I make sure I drink plenty of water. I eat all my greens. I've really cut back, and this is a big one. I can't speak for you, but I know for me personally, I've really cut back on sugar. I found that's been a big one. I don't drink coffee, which sounds crazy to a lot of people because they'd be like, well, how does he get up in the morning? But I don't drink coffee, but I really cut back on sugar, and I found in the last 6 months it's been huge for me, just for being able to get a lot of natural energy, sort of thing. Because if you don't have that sort of that sort of food-based energy, being the sort of the simple carbohydrates in the your lollies and sweets and all that sort of stuff, it sort of it forces you to sort of eat well and all that sort of stuff. So I've really been eating well, training lots, getting I don't get a whole lot of sleep, but making sure I do get good sleep is probably a big one. And I've sort of found as well that it's been really good to sort of keep in contact with obviously friends and family and whatnot, and just making a real effort on sort of setting goals for myself. um, it's a hard one because obviously a lot of my businesses are closed, so I've just been setting a lot of personal goals, writing sort of stuff down, and just looking back through it during the week. It's been a big one for me. I wrote a little social thing the other week, just sort of, it was a bit of a answering to your question there, and because a lot of people are like, well, how can you keep so positive, during times like these? And the first part of my post was around, hey, like I'm struggling as much as the next person. Just because I'm Mr. Energy, Mr. Positivity, doesn't mean I don't have tough days. Days I struggle to get out of bed. We're all human in that regard. I have days where I scream into my pillow. I'm just like, oh, you feel so trapped and so infuriated. So I have those same frustrations. I guess it's just the way that I sort of deal with them, and sort of and push through them might be what is what's sort of helping me better. So I guess to summarize, it's eating really well, making sure I'm getting lots of my greens and my fruits, cutting down obviously on sugar, only having it when I absolutely need to. I've sort of limited my drinking, and that's obviously, it's easy because obviously bars and clubs aren't open, so I don't pretend to be a freaking hero with that. If you're taken away from that, if you're taken away from that environment, like obviously, I live by myself, so it's not like I'm punching bottles of red by myself. So for me, but there's no hero claim there, but I'm just saying what's just working for me in terms of being in a good state of mind physically, and I've really set some fitness goals, some mental health goals for myself, which I've been achieving. But honestly, I've really found a real buoyancy in like, I've always been big on helping other people, but I've really like gone DEFCON 10 on that in this time. So, for example, like we've got I live in Elwood, and there's like the Elwood community page, and I'm just like on that page with anything people need. I think I've jump started 4 people's cars in the last 2 weeks, fixed a neighbour's doorbell, done some shopping for some old people, just really getting around the community, and keeping that positivity and social interaction with people in Elwood, and then focusing on all my charity stuff has been really good, because it's a real, for me anyway, it's a real sense of fulfillment, helping other people, and it's just good karma. I don't know, like whether it comes back to you or not, I don't really care, but I just find that helping other people just gives me just like such a buzz and such a rush, that yeah, that's just looking for the next hit.
Yeah, dude, I feel that. It's really interesting you talk about that, actually, because I've actually read into a little bit of the science behind contribution and why it does feel so good. And it's actually part of like an inherent need that we have as human beings to feel as though we're contributing, one, and growing
Mm-hmm.
is another one. And it's two things that a lot of people don't reach, unfortunately, in their lives. So they never really feel that true fulfillment. And the thing about contribution that's so powerful is the chemicals that get released in your brain when you just give to someone without any sort of need for
Yeah.
reciprocity is likened to the feelings you get when you orgasm during sex. How ridiculous is
I'm
that?
basic. I'm basically on a full-time orgy. Then it sounds like
That is
I'm
absolutely gold. Oh, that's
just
unreal.
um just um just on a Gaz community orgy. And hey, you know what's really messed up? If when you edit later, you just where they do a little sneak peek for the video, you just have to grab that little bit. I'm constantly on a Gaz community orgy and just post it, and you can twist that round to sound so messed up.
Bro,
And it'd be like community positive guy Gaz shocks viewers with confronting community orgy stories. God.
bro,
Anyway,
it's funny you mentioned that because I've actually just jotted down the time on the recording because I'm literally going to do that.
perfect. I aim to please.
Yeah, 100%. No, that was great, man. Like there was some really really good stuff that you put in there. It's
Yeah.
the basic stuff, right? Like people get way too overcomplex with like, oh shit, what are these crazy things I need to do in order to be successful? It's like, dude, just do the basics. Like,
Yeah.
feel good by working out, feel good by eating good, feel good by getting the sleep that is right for you. Like obviously you don't need to sleep as much as I do, for example.
No.
Like
Yeah.
do the basic shit right, and then everything will just build on top of that.
It's I always laugh when I see like, yeah, these, like, because you get so many targeted ads these days, and I'm always scared to write things in comments, because like I'll say something about teacups and I'll be getting tea saucer ads for freaking 2 weeks. But it's funny because I'll often be talking to people online, just giving health tips and that sort of stuff, and diet stuff. It's not rocket science, like it really isn't. And I don't care what anyone says. Everyone's body's different, and so you'll find that different diets and stuff work different for better people. You might be a high protein sort of diet that works well for you. Some people like doing all the different keto diets, all that sort of thing. But if you're eating well and you're moving more than you're putting into your body, you're going to keep healthy. It's like it's very very rare for people to be genetically obese. There is obviously there is a small percentage of the population that does have that, but in the grand scheme of things, move more, eat less, and you're going to be okay.
Yeah, 100%. That's not to say you need to be like the next fake ripped, sexy Instagram model who's using a million apps just to make sure that their
Ah,
body's looking perfect. You just need to be at a point where like you're feeling high energy, you're feeling healthy, you're feeling your own version of success. Like stop trying to model yourself on other people. Just do you, focus on
no.
your own shit, get to a place you're feeling good and things are going to look up.
Yeah, I read a really good thing the other week, and it was like I probably maybe was a little bit guilty of this, but not too bad, and probably not as bad as some people. But like for things like I personally prefer Instagram more than Facebook, because I just find Facebook can be a bit ranty, and
Oh yeah.
people can really delve on the negative, whereas Instagram is a bit more inspirational, and like regardless of how strong your filter game is, um you know so this article was good about it. Was saying just stop following celebrity type people and Instagram models and all that sort of stuff, and really focus on people that inspire you, people that are doing really really good things, and it'll make it a real change on when you open up these social media apps, what you're actually, the content that you're being you're being made aware to. So if all you're doing is following sexy bikini models and the Kardashians and whatever, Shout out to the Kardashians. But you're gonna have, I don't know, it's gonna sort of do your head in a bit, because often it's just very unrealistic, and often what they're portraying is not real life. So really focus on people that are doing really, really good things that are real. Whether that be through art, through exercise. People that are quite inspirational. This is very, very generic, but The Rock, for example, he's such a great one, because he's big on his mantras, and training really well, doing the right things with your family and all that sort of stuff. He's one I love, sort of looking up to, rather than these Instagram people that that might have they've got a big following or whatever. But it's just, I don't know. It's not real, and there's nothing that you can really gain out of it, apart from maybe being a little bit envious, which is just a bit of a pointless emotion, I find.
Yeah, it's really interesting, right? Like, it's really easy to blame platforms for all of your problems, right? But at the end of the day,
100%.
think about it. Like, you are the product for these platforms. Your data is the
Yeah.
product, so you actually have all of the control. If you don't want to follow something because it makes you feel shit, don't follow it.
Yeah.
Or if you don't want to use an
No.
app because it makes you feel shit, like, I hardly ever use Facebook. I never use Twitter, purely because it's just a platform for outrage and anger. You don't have to use it.
100%.
You still have that
Yeah.
decision.
I don't go on Twitter for that reason. That it's literally just, I was on it for a little bit, and it's just ranting, and it's crazy. People, like, I was talking to someone the other day, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I follow Donald Trump on Twitter." I'm like, "Why?" Just why? Like, shout out to Trump, no. But it's, I don't know. I'm just like, I just can't see any, like, apart from a bit of and I'm not going to get political here. That's not, it's not my aim by any stretch. But I'm just like, I just can't see the benefit. You know what I mean? Like, just really focus on the people that inspire you, and like there's a few that I like. I said The Rock. Then another great one is what's his name? Is it David Goggins?
Oh, he's a beast.
He's like, stay hard. He's like,
Yeah.
he's just unbelievable to watch. And like, if you're feeling a little like lacking a bit of motivation for the day, just have a watch of him just punching out like a 10-miler in the morning. And he's very intense. I'm not saying he's for everyone, but people like that, I find someone like that, it really sort of inspires me. There's the Tony Robbinses and various sort of ones. Gary V's another one, but I find these people are good because their message is quite positive, and it really is about taking control of your own destiny, rather than just sort of kicking back and sort of waiting for something to happen. Because I'm a huge believer on you make your own luck. Like, and I happily go on record of saying that you make your own luck, and I find the harder I work on things, the luckier I become. And I'm a big one on that, and because I just believe that if you're stagnant and you're waiting for things to happen, they just won't. Whereas movement creates results. So I'm a big one on that. So yeah, make your own luck.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, bro. It's like, whenever a situation is presented to you, you always have two choices, right? There's either the choice to, allow it to overwhelm you and not do anything about it,
Yeah.
or there's the
Yeah.
choice to be proactive and be like, okay, this has happened. Maybe it was totally outside of my control, but what is in my control is how I react and what I do about it now. And you're someone who
100%.
definitely, I can see, does that with almost everything you do in your life.
100%, and it's something I sort of say to people that when I have conversations with, I'm like, focus on what you can control, not what you can't.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on what you can control, not what you can't. I'm such a big advocate for that, because people get so caught up in getting things holding them down and upsetting them when it's completely out of their control. There's not a whole lot they can do about that, but they can control how things affect them. So if like, for example, if someone has a go at you and you let that upset you, okay, they've done the wrong thing, but you're choosing to let that upset you. You're making that choice to let that upset you, and being able to ignore that, be able to move past that and feel sorry for the person or whatever, is such a strength. Now, I'm not saying it's something that we're all gifted with. It's something you've got to work on. But how you let situations affect you is on you.
100%. That's powerful, dude. That was definitely one of the most powerful things I think you've said. People will definitely
Yeah.
relate to that. And I hope people actually do
Yeah.
something about it too, right? So I kind of wanted to know, like, Okay, like it's good to have loads of positive energy and loads of drive when times are good, but when times are really bad, I want to know is
Yes.
there, like obviously you said before you're human like the rest of us, and you
Yeah.
experience emotions that make you feel shit, and there's times when you're like, you
Yeah.
know what, like I don't really want to get out of bed today, like I just want to feel sad, I want to feel
100%.
shit. How do you deal with those kind of situations? Like how do you flip the script and go, all right, this has happened, let's do something about it.
Movement. Movement is the biggest key. If I had to answer it in one word, it's movement. So
Mm,
if you're dealing with things like loneliness, hardships at work, relationship, I implore you to move,
mm,
stand up, go for a walk, to get your body moving, because it's if you're sitting down and you're letting things dwell, I'm sure I've done this. We all do this. You get in your own head, and
mm,
so by moving, you get your brain working, you get your body moving, and I find it really helps to sort of get those endorphins moving around your brain, and it
mm,
helps your body to start planning. To
mm,
start moving through the trauma, moving through the pain.
mm.
Yeah, it's all through movement. So whenever I'm dealing with stressful phone calls, might be on the phone to the bank, with our businesses, that sort of stuff, trying to work out how we're gonna survive through this pandemic. I'm always moving. I'm always talking on the phone. I'm out walking, sort of thing. I'm not sort of sitting down, letting things sort of build up. I find movement is a really powerful one.
Mm,
People that have anxiety, which I know is a lot of people, just get moving, get your body sort of out, getting some oxygen
mm,
into the bloodstream, some fresh air, even if it's raining. Hey, it'll take your mind off things a little bit as well. So, rain, hail, or shine, get out of the house. Don't get stuck in the office, in your bedroom, in your lounge room. Get
mm,
moving is the cheapest and easiest way. Seek help is probably another one. Talk to people. So a lot of time I find people that they try and deal with problems themselves, which is okay, and we all do it. But talk to people. In any respect, it's just good to often vent your frustrations, your problems, your anger, to have someone listen. I find is it's a bit of a release,
mm,
a bit of a weight off your back, for lack of a better term, and getting some advice and getting another perspective on things. I
mm,
think is really important.
mm. I guess the only point I'd add to that second one is talk to the right people
Yep,
as well too, right? Like
100%, 100%.
there's some people you'll talk to, and when you go and talk to that person, that they're just going to sit there and sympathize with you, and by the end of it, guess what? You're still going to feel shit. There's not going to be any solutions to the problem, and nothing's really changed, right? But if you go and talk to someone that is going to listen to you and empathize and be sympathetic, but they're also going to try and like get you to a point where you're like, all right, cool, like I can get through this, like this is what I can do. What do you think about that?
100%, 100%. And I've seen so much of it. Like during this lockdown, I honestly reckon I'm sort of working with probably 8 or 10 friends at the moment, sort of, and helping them deal with stuff. And I'm very, very open and honest about things that I think I know a bit about, and things I don't. So
Mm,
I'll often premise things by saying, look, hey, I'm definitely not an expert in the area. This is my opinion, just based on what you say, and you get my vibe. I'm very, 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 very black and white, very, very A to Z sort of thing.
mm,
I don't beat around the bush because I don't have time to, and I don't think I want to be wasting the person's time I'm talking to. For sure, you want to be empathetic about the situations, and take on and understand that person's hurt, fear, pain, whatever it might be. But 100%, you're correct. You need to be talking to the right people, because a bad example is if you got a relationship advice from someone that's had 4 marriage breakdowns. Maybe not the right person to be working through marital problems with. But it's important to be talking to people that know something about an area. If you're dealing with a business issue, hey, talk to someone that's got a few businesses that's doing really well. They might
mm,
not have all the answers, but at least they'll be able to give you a bit of a shove in the right direction, sort of thing. So 100% what you're saying there. Talk to people, get help, get it from the right people is a brilliant addition to that.
mm. Awesome. Gaz, so you've got a lot of stuff going on all at once. You've got a lot of fingers and a lot of different pies, and you're constantly on the move. Like you said, you do an 80 to 100-hour work week sometimes. What keeps you
Yeah.
motivated? You mentioned contribution before. Is there like a specific purpose that you have that keeps you motivated, or is it more than that?
Probably keeping a roof above my head. um,
Shit.
no, yeah, I've always been really, really driven. I think for me, it's all about, and I'm only really speaking from my perspective here, but it's about wanting to create a legacy. So I really want to achieve something, and I want to leave this world knowing that I've made it a better place. And so, every time I'm sort of driving, I'm like, cool, like how am I helping leave this planet better than I found it? And I'm a big one on that. So, for me, working a 9 to 5 job, which is totally fine, and everyone's different. A book I love reading, Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad was a really, really cool one. He talks about with the quadrants, and I found for me that I was a real free spirit, and it was a big one for me in terms of understanding, okay, that's who I am, and it's good to be that way. It doesn't make any of the other ones, people that are employees, self-employed business owners, or investors, it doesn't make them right or wrong. It's just where it's really important to keep I'm sort of focused on what I want to do, but I want to leave a legacy. I want to leave the world in a better place, and that's my driver.
That's beautiful, man. And I really feel that in your answer. You can sometimes hear when people are being misingenuous, and times when people are being genuine. Like I can feel with not just how you say it, but how you act and the things that you do in your life just shows like, yeah, this is who I am. This is what I want. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
So all power to you for that.
I'm a big believer. If you're going to say something, mean it. Yeah.
Awesome, bro. Hey, that's pretty much all the questions I had, but we're going to move into the segment, the 4 in 1. So this is, I get to ask you 4 questions, and then you get 1 for me. I think we may have talked about this when we had a bit of a catch up the other week.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna start by asking you the 4 questions. Answer however you want to, and then you'll get a question for me. And then after that, we'll make sure that you kind of tell the audience where to find you, where they can follow your journey, if they can send you a DM or a message, where they'd be able to do that. Sound good?
Sure. Yep.
Cool. All right. So first one. 5 things a person could start doing today to lift their energy levels and start living their version of success.
Okay, I'll use my fingers to help here. Eating and drinking better. 1. Getting healthy, exercising on the daily, not once a week, not twice a week, every day out doing something. 3, writing down goals. So setting goals for themselves, both personally, professionally, emotionally, whatever it might be, setting goals. 4, like getting the sunshine into their daily life. So opening up the blinds every morning, looking at that sunlight. Don't be afraid of the day. Embrace the day. Take on the day. And 5, I'd have to say, it'd be keeping contact with your loved ones, building friendships, making friendships, sustaining friendships, but just keeping people in your life.
Awesome, bro. Those were fucking amazing. Thank you for that.
Power.
Boom. So, second question. Top 3 things you want to accomplish before you die.
Top. Can you give me that one more time?
Top 3 things. So you only get 3. I know you probably got tons that you want to accomplish before you die. I mean, Borat Mankini might be 1.
Woo! 1, 2, and 3. I want to. I want to have real strong success, both musically and in the business world. That's probably I'm so passionate about my music and my businesses. So I really want to have business and music success because I feel like that'll give me a sense of fulfillment. Obviously a loving relationship and a family would be given. And then the third one would be 100% to leave a legacy. So people generations after can be inspired by this person in whatever respect it might be. It might be just the littlest things, but I want to leave a legacy that helps inspire and makes other people's lives better.
Beautiful, bro. Love those. And I have no doubt you'll accomplish all of them. I think you already are accomplishing them in small ways each and every day. So next one, bro.
100%. Yep.
2 people who influence you the most.
Like you can, do you mean in people that are in my life or just anyone?
Anyone. So the first 2 people that come to mind that you go, all right, this person has influenced or is continuing to influence me more than anyone else.
Nelson Mandela. For sure, is always been my hero, which I've made no secret about that. I just what he did for South Africans and his ability to overcome adversity, in a situation where most people would have given up hope, that sort of thing, and his outlook on life, coming out of jail, and what he did for that country and the world is just it inspires me, and I just he's without doubt my biggest hero.
Awesome.
And the second one, no, I've got lots. But I think I touched on it before. I love The Rock. Like I loved him. I loved him, and I'll explain why, because it sounds a bit cliche. But I loved him as a kid growing up because I was a huge wrestling fan. Like I wanted to be The Rock. I love, obviously he obviously made a career in terms of with wrestling, but I love how he wasn't willing to settle with just being a wrestler, and went into movies, and he does so much stuff now for people in need, and he's an amazing humanitarian and everything as well. And I love how he didn't get himself pigeonholed to one particular industry career. He takes on everything. He's just got I think it's called the XFL, which is like a new form of American football. He just bought that, so he's forever up for the challenge, and he's just a very, very inspiring person. So probably Nelson Mandela and The Rock.
Awesome, dude. Those are amazing picks. I love that.
Yeah.
All right, last one for you, and then you get one for me.
Yeah.
So this one's a bit of a funny one. So listen up. Would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
One horse size. You can see my brain just horse sized duck or God, I don't know. I'm gonna ducks. I'm gonna have to say that. Do I have any weapons?
No, man. It's just you, dude. This is all natural.
Yeah, right. Well, I just don't think it'd be possible to be a horse-sized duck. So I'm gonna say the 100, because I just don't think I could. I've done a lot of martial arts over my career, but I just don't think I could take down a horse-sized duck. I reckon he'd just peck my head in. So I reckon at least I've got a chance, just with the 100. Yeah.
Just imagine.
I'm going to think about that one all day and call you later on the cyber and change my answer. But no. I think for now I'll keep that one.
Just imagine the image though of like one dude just being flocked by 100 duck-sized horses, just like.
God. Bring it on, Spartan challenge wise. Nice.
Cool, bro. You get a question for me?
All right. Off the top of my head, I'd have to say, like, if you had to pick one inspiring speech, whether it be politically or from a movie, well, what is there one particular speech or thing that you've sort of seen in terms of a public presentation or whatnot that's really changed you or shaped the way that you sort of had an outlook on life or the way you do work, sort of thing? Can you think of one particular speech or person that said something that really shaped the person that you are today?
Oh, that is a huge question. Well done for coming up with that.
Hey, that's what I do.
That's what I do. I think I'd rather fight the 100 bloody duck-sized horses.
Bring on the ducks! Bring on the ducks!
Yeah, okay. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's just a ton.
Yeah.
But I would have to say.
Yeah.
No, you go. What were you going to say?
Yeah, I was gonna say. So when because I've asked myself that, and so my headspace was that there's amazing ones, like there's Nelson Mandela's speeches. Obviously he's one for me. You got your Martin Luther King, your Malcolm X's, which are very, very powerful political ones. But then I find I've had really, like, I had one when I was in primary school, and it was actually from a teacher, and because I was a naughty little kid, very high energy, and I remember she said to me, she goes, kids like you never amount to anything. And what I thought she meant was kids like you, kids that come from not having parental figures, and that was one that really drove me, because I was like, you know what? fuck you, I'm gonna go achieve all these things, like, despite you. She probably just meant naughty kids, you know what I mean? But it was something that kind of changed me, because I was like, I thought, she was sort of like talking down to kids like me. So that was just a one on a personal level. If that maybe helps you to, because it might be something on something that your parents said to you, or it could be something that you heard in the news or on a speech.
Yeah, true that. I'm kind of glad you said that, actually, because I was going to go with the cliche Tony Robbins speech, which he does absolute bangers all over the place. But
love Tony Robbins.
Yeah, he's an absolute animal, savage. But I would say the one that's probably had the greatest effect on me in my life to date, and there was many in my childhood that kind of resulted in how I was, but the biggest one would have been the speech that my ex-girlfriend gave to me as she was breaking up with me, and I was curled up in a ball, looking like one of those bloody Horcruxes of Voldemort, just like crying and just looking like an absolute limp dog. I think that was probably the most powerful because, I still remember, like, basically how she told me, like, how I was I was just like a leech, basically. And that really like flipped the script in my mind. Like, holy shit, she's totally right.
I got to change some things up, and sometimes the hardest lessons are the best ones.
Yeah, 100%, dude. Yeah, that was I'm glad you kind of cleared that up because that completely changed my answer. So thanks for that.
There you go.
Cool, bro. Well, I mean, that's pretty much the end. But before I let you go,
we've done an hour. That flew.
Yeah, dude. Hour and 20 minutes.
Boom.
Yeah. This is what happens when you have good conversations, right? That's all it is. It's just a good conversation. Getting deep.
Yeah.
Getting real deep.
I have hour chats to myself, so this was a breeze.
I'm just imagining you in the mirror trying not to pass out having a conversation with yourself. So, Gaz, where can people find you? Obviously, I'm going to leave all of this in the show notes, but where can people find you, get in contact with you, follow your stuff?
Yeah, sure. It just I won't give my mobile because enough people have already got that already. But no, just on my Facebook, on my Instagram, just Gaz Kempster. And anyone's got any questions or I guess I said I don't pretend to be the Gandhi of positivity, but I'm always happy to have a crack and help people in any way. So if you got any questions or you might want some advice, if at all I can help you in any way, just hit me up on Facebook or Instagram. I'll always aim to sort of reply to people within a couple of days. Sort of things. I do get a few little cheeky messages here and there, so I do my best to hit. And now's probably a good time to hit me up because once things slightly open back up, because we're planning up a heap of stuff at the moment, which I'll let you know maybe in the very near future. I won't probably have the time like I do at the moment. So hit me up, any questions, and just keep positive, keep the love spreading, and brighter days are coming.
Awesome, bro. That's an amazing way to end it. Thanks so much, Gaz.
Pleasure, mate. I look forward to talking to you soon.
Well, that's the end of this conversation with Gaz Kempster. Hopefully in the future I get to have him on the podcast and he can talk more about the crazy business ventures he's on and more about the exciting adventures he's having in a Borat mankini or out of a Borat mankini. That was a really enjoyable conversation for me. Plenty of laughs, plenty of incredible insights. What an energetic, powerful human being Gaz is. Anyway, anything that we talked about and decided to leave in the description will be in the description below. And of course, all of the contacts for Gaz Kempster himself. Like he said, feel free to reach out to him. He's incredibly busy, but he will try his best to get back to you and to have a little bit of a conversation. And maybe you can get the inspiration that you need from this incredible human being. Anyway, before I say goodbye and you can quit listening to my voice for another couple of days, I want to ask that you leave a 5-star rating if you enjoyed that episode and a review so that we can try and get this podcast out to more people. Of course, you can only do that on Apple Podcasts. If you're using any other platform, feel free to subscribe and share this episode with people who you think might get as much out of it as you did and as I did.